when I see you in the morning, will you still want to be true? I can dream, I can dream that we'll see a brighter day. And I'm alive, more alive than I've ever been your way. And I'm alive, more alive than I've ever been your way. And I'm alive, more alive than I've ever been your way. And I'm alive, more alive than I've ever been your way. Well, I can dream that we'll see a brighter day. I can see in your eyes that we're through. You've been far away. What have you got to say? My heart is on display, but I'm not afraid. Yeah, I'm not afraid. Why you been getting busy? I've been getting dizzy, trying not to keep you in mind. Now all the dirty thighs and suddenly enticing since you came back in my life. I've been waiting for you, been waiting for you, been waiting for you. I've been waiting for you, been waiting for you, been waiting for you. Do what you gotta do, yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. I've been waiting for you, been waiting for you, been waiting for you. You left without a line. Was it by design? If what you want is time, don't go.
Hey, it's Mark, and it's time to start our live show. So tonight's episode is sponsored by Armor Benders, and so if you want to get these, they're at stopmotionstore.com. We're currently sold out of these kits right now. We're getting more in about a week. They are hand machined armatures, and they have the smoothest motion of all our armature kits. So you guys might want to check it out at our site. And so let me get rid of our. Let me get rid of this. Where is it? And put our camera on. Okay, so make sure this is lined up. So to start off, actually I should probably mention, if you guys visit animateclay.com, I noticed that a lot of people are adding some really cool videos to our site. I see Legopolis and Eduardo And Zakira and Tamarami have all uploaded some new videos. So if you guys want to check that out, they're actually really good. Um, so last week we didn't have a live show. We celebrated Thanksgiving twice in our family, so it's been a busy week. um, my wife decided to make a bunch of food and invite some family, and so we did that. And then we also on the weekend we went to my brother-in-law's brother's house, and they live kind of out in the country in a somewhat of like a log cabin that's really huge. It's really nice. But we went there, and our family was there. Their family was there, and friends and stuff. So it was pretty nice. So if you guys are outside of America, it's probably not something that you would celebrate, of course, outside of the U.S. But it's considered a big holiday here. It's the second biggest holiday compared to Christmas. And of course, Christmas is, you know, I think pretty much universally one of the bigger holidays in the world, because so many people celebrate together. It's like that and New Year's. But it was nice. We talked, and my dentist, the guy that hosted our Thanksgiving on the weekend, he has family that is historically, they were in the military and fighting in like World War I and World War II, and so we got to sort of look at some of his pictures and some of the artifacts and things that he had from that, which is really interesting. So, if I were a historian, I'd probably be really excited. But it was neat. And so, anyways, yeah. Hopefully you guys had a good week. So, 2 weeks ago when we were working on this, before us, you can see one of our characters that we're designing, or designed, and now we're actually designing it in the clay to sort of match up with our drawn version. So you can see here, this head is just a little bit smaller than what's drawn, which is actually what we want. It's pretty close, but just slightly smaller. As we, I repeat this probably a lot on all my live shows when we get to this stage of sculpting, but the clay face needs to be just a tad bit smaller than what's drawn, because it's going to be on a layer of glass that is higher than the body. So like if you look at this from the camera's point of view, here's the head. It's a little bit smaller. So if the level of glass is about here, you can see it's pretty close to the same size at this height. See? So it's pretty good. I'm happy with that. And I'm not really going for perfection because, like I say, this is just a secondary character. So if you were here 2 weeks ago, you know that this is just like a character that the main characters will interact with, but they don't have any sort of speaking roles or anything like that. And we're only going to use 2 angles of this character for the heads. Like the mother character has a front, a left, and a right, and this character is simply my fingers. I should have probably washed my hands, but that's okay. We're going to make a mold of this. But the mother character, that's the main character, has a front, left, and right view, and she'll be doing the most action, and so we need the most angles for her. We've got like some squashes and stretches of her face and all that. I've got some alcohol here, so I am going to just wipe my hands a little bit. Clean them off. That's one of the bad parts about clay, is that when your fingers are dirty, or your desk is dusty and the dust gets on your fingers, it just goes all over your clay and stuff. So always gotta keep your fingers clean. So anyways, hey, Whiskey and Janet says, I saw images from Parade. Is that a new Pixar film or something? I haven't heard of it. Parade? I have not heard of that. Yeah, it seems that the buzz on the internet is mostly about, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio has been canceled. I don't know if you guys heard about that or not. That was a stop motion feature that he was planning to make, and they had done a lot of preliminary designs and some, I guess, I don't know if they did any animation for it, but they had sculpted some characters that looked like they were puppets, and so it was canceled officially. Like Guillermo del Toro, I can never get his name right, said that it's not going to happen. So that's one stop motion feature film that I guess we will not see. And he had planned to make it not like the Disney film. So I know, Janet, you're into Disney films, but the Disney film was a lighter version than what was actually written in the original story. So, I guess it was somewhat dark of a story, and Disney did make it somewhat dark, but it's even darker than that, and we're not going to see it, fortunately. Alright, now this character, I've got the face, which is, let's see here. I should probably zoom in my camera a little bit for you guys. So where's my camera? Let's see. There we go. Hopefully that's a little bit better for you guys. Let's center this. So if my hands go out of view, though, you guys gotta tell me, because it's hard to sculpt and constantly look at my screen. But this is what he looks like so far. And get in my mouth. There's been a lot of stop motion going on out there. It's hard to keep up. I've been so busy this past week. I haven't really checked, to see all the internet message boards and all of that. And so don't have much to talk about in terms of that, but hopefully you guys have been keeping up. If you guys go on animateclay.com, though, I do keep up with the site and check out what people post. And I know Tamarami, who we used to call Clay Mara, she posted a short video about her and her boyfriend and how they met and how she imagines them as a pair of snails. It's kind of funny. I really like the format that she's using for her new films, and she makes one releases one I think every single Monday, and it's really cool. I really like her stuff. And Zakira created sort of like a fairy tale that she released. With these, they're like these little, they look like sheep, blue sheep, where they give milk or something, and It's interesting. You should, if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. Hey, Hoser Lou. So you didn't like that, huh, Janet? You don't like Little Mermaid? I haven't watched that I mean, that was like years ago that I saw that. I haven't seen it or rewatched it in so long. Not as much drawn animation out there anymore. I had some Facebook friends that do draw an animation, and some of them are really super talented. I mean, talented enough to where if they wanted to, they could. Oops, this is not good. They could probably work for Disney, if they were still doing drawn animation. There's so many talented people, and it's just the profits are not as, I don't know what it is. It's a riskier way of making a film, I suppose. To have drawn animators drawing hand-drawn cells created or even scanned. It's a really beautiful art, but people don't want to use that anymore for some reason. Like I say, maybe it's like too risky for studios to do hand-drawn animation. It's the same with clay animation. And you would think that if somebody has a lot of talent and it's a unique art form, that they would utilize it. But now it comes down to individuals who want to make films either by themselves or in small groups, and use Kickstarter and Indiegogo. That seems to be where most of the talent, or unique new talent, is. It's not really the same as a studio, and Hollywood's having a hard time right now in terms of everybody's getting fired. Studios are losing money. Places are going bankrupt. Netflix is the new company to go to if you're an independent animator or studio. And Amazon.com is trying to compete with Netflix. So the whole arena of filmmaking is really shifting. So the old model of making films for studios is almost, it's like it's on its way out. And some of my friends, Joy Stamp is working for someone that has a YouTube channel. Didn't seem to work out at first with him. I think the company he was working for, either they got super busy, I'm not really sure, but he worked out a contract, I suppose, with somebody, with the Stickbot company, and they are working with him, and he's working out of course, maybe a small room, a small studio that he has set up. So most of the people out there in like the 1980s and 90s would usually work in something like a small studio making TV commercials, get enough practice, and experience, and then they would move on to features or bigger projects. And now it's kind of like you work out of your house, you make something that looks good, people are impressed, and then they want to pay you to work with them. So it's a completely new shift in how people get work these days. Studios are really not as important. And also schools. Schools also pay a lot of money. Well, technically you pay for it, but they give you a space, and equipment to make films. And you see a lot of student animators making really awesome stuff. And a lot of times they make something really cool and then they graduate and you never see from or hear from them again. So I don't ever really like. I think schools need to start teaching about Kickstarter and Indiegogo and how to monetize your uh, your products that you're creating, your animations and storytelling and all that. I think even schools are not teaching that. I think they're still teaching and gearing towards the old studio model where you get a degree in, let's say, fine arts and cinematography, and then from there you try to promote yourself to ad agencies and talent agencies, things like that. And that's not the way it works anymore. So Beard says profit margins just seem a lot higher and safer for other forms of media. That and there really isn't any online platforms that work exceptionally well for monetizing animation. Yeah, that's true. And Beard says on a smaller scale, it seems like crowdfunding like Kickstarter and Patreon seem to be how smaller studios are working now. Yeah, I don't know if you remember this. This is going back to like maybe the year 2000. Uh, John Kricfalusi, the guy who uh, Ren and Stimpy and what was the other one? He like redid Mighty Mouse and stuff like that. But Ren and Stimpy, I think, was his most famous. Where's my tool at? Here it is. Ren and Stimpy was like his most famous project that he did for Nickelodeon. And in the 90s, with the internet boom, he was sort of trying to figure out how to make money. How do we monetize this new internet platform? And he figured he could do it. He tried his best to make money by, I think, sticking ads in the middle of his animations. And he did animations using Flash at the time. So if you guys visited newgrounds.com, that was the standard of making new types of animation was to make it in Flash. You could draw it, scan it, animate it, and then export it into a Flash file, and you could even interact with it. So his idea was, we got this interaction with Flash, so you can click on things and go to links and all that kind of stuff. So he figured, yeah, we can put ads in there. We can have people click on stuff. The advertisement pops up, and we get revenue. Like that. And then YouTube came out with their advertising and ad scheme and all that, and it's like anybody could make money at it. But now it's getting really politically correct. So if you have anything that's racy or, Ren and Stimpy was pretty extreme at the time. And on the internet, John created this whole series called Weekend Pussy Hunt, which was like a bunch of cats, and they had all this drama and what's that guy? George Liquor. What's that guy? I think his name is like George Liquor. He was in there, and they would just say all kind of harsh words and everything like that. So the odds of someone like John making something that's not something along the lines of Disney and making money at it is getting smaller, and like people that want to do really far out stuff, it's difficult for those people to make any kind of money. Simply because now it's YouTube. You have companies like Coca-Cola, you have mom and pop shops and Walmart and family friendly places that all want to put their ads on videos on YouTube. And so what they do is they're starting to classify videos now. They stick like I just saw today, robots watch your video, like an artificial intelligence robot will watch your video after you've uploaded it. It will look at the thumbnail and all this kind of stuff, and it will see if you've monetized it and all that, and it will say, well, this video has a curse word in it, this video has racy images or sexy images or um, stuff like that. So they classify everything, and that's so advertisers can appropriately put their own products on something that is relevant to their product. So if you're talking about, for example, I don't know, pick anything like a sport or something like let's say your channel is about football and it's family friendly, then someone like the NFL or some company like that might say, well, let's put some NFL ads on this video. It's getting a lot of hits. So you had to understand the politics now behind it. There's like this, and it's constantly evolving. So you don't really know if YouTube is going to be an appropriate platform long term for your animation, depending on what you're doing. Obviously, Disney wouldn't have a problem with that because they're making stuff which is self-censored, so they can put stuff on there. But in terms of them advertising on your stuff, that's where you can make money. It's getting harder and harder. So I think that eventually YouTube will be something that people steer away from. I think that they won't try to make money at it unless, like I say, they're really making family-friendly animations. Yeah, that's right, Beard. So it's got to be advertiser-friendly. Oh yeah, Weekend Pussy Hunt. I've got I still have the collection of Flash videos on my computer. I liked them, but it was pretty trashy stuff. That was from like 20 years ago. And it's not online anymore. It used to be on icebox.com. That's where they uploaded it all. Elsa Gate. I don't know what that is, Janet. I haven't heard of that. Oh, wait. No, I think I have. Didn't they say that they were making videos with... Yeah, that's right. What wasn't that, where they're making videos of her, like, with machine guns and... Yeah, I think YouTube removed a whole bunch of videos, right? Because they were taking Disney characters and making them like kill people, and little kids were coming across the videos thinking that they were Disney related. Yeah, I think that might be backlash. That might be, and backlash from people that are like, yeah, YouTube is censoring everybody, so let's kind of, I don't know if that's really what it is, but it seems likely. This guy here is looking a little bit grumpy, so I'm not really wanting him to be so grumpy. So I'm going to change his eyebrows a bit here. This guy has to have more of a perplexed look on his face. Sculpt this like this a bit. I wonder if I have my hot glue gun in here. I don't think I do. I'm going to need that pretty soon. Yeah, YouTube is always changing. You can't really keep up with. You want to work within their guidelines, right? Like if you want to maximize your revenue for YouTube, you have to guess as to how to do that, because they're afraid people will game the system. But it's like if they would just tell people, hey, this is what we want you to make. This kind of a film that has no bad language. It has to be, let's say, like unique, but it has to be family friendly, and it has to be this, it has to be that. Then you'll make the most money, or if this is in your title, and your thumbnail is this, I think they could actually tell people how to make the most of their platform so that they can, work with YouTube. But they're kind of like, well, you got to figure it out on your own, kind of a thing. And then when we ban your videos or block your channel, then you'll know that you crossed the line. It just seems a little bit counterproductive for them to do it that way. I mean, I can understand like people will do some, robotic video with just still images and a soundtrack and try to do something that will make money for the sake of making money, and they don't want that. But I don't think it's that big of an. Is it that big of a problem where they had to sort of hide everything? I don't know. Yeah, yep, that's right, Beard. So yeah, it's like they're making children's videos that are super violent and everything. It's so I want to detail this mouth a little bit here. I want to add some more shape because I think that this here needs to be. Oh. Yeah, yep. Yeah, that's the thing, it's there's so many like Clay Animation Hulk and Elsa videos that you know even the family friendly stuff. Uh, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff out there I don't like, I guess. Let's see here. So this guy's face, got the cheeks, got that. Just have a little bit of a flat spot there. Fact. Yeah. I mean, honestly speaking, I can understand there. It's hard to sort of make a place where both advertisers and creators are happy. Yeah, I can understand, but I don't see why, for example, um, why it has to be completely clean across the board. Because there are people that sell things that are extremely, racy things that want to advertise on YouTube. It's not all family-friendly companies trying to advertise their businesses or advertise their products and stuff. I mean, let's face it. There's neo-Nazis and stuff like that that are out there, and they might have a book, and it might be a really horrible book, but it might be perfect for a certain channel out there. And not that I would buy something like that, but you can definitely match crazy products with crazy people's videos. It's not that hard, Hoserlu. If you sculpt it long enough, you can do the same thing. Anybody can do this, actually. I mean, designing stuff on paper is the most important part in a sense. If you can do that, you can sculpt it. So if you can draw, you can sculpt. As you can see, I don't draw well, so I don't sculpt amazingly well either, based on my own drawings. But anyways, Wes Anderson Stop motion Isle of Dogs is out the end of March 2018. That's pretty good. That's not far away. Okay, so looking at this is the face. I'm thinking this cheek here. Alright, it's 8:30, so I'm going to take my time with this today because I'm just going to be making a mold of this. That's all I have to do is make a mold of this for casting a bunch of faces next time. So that won't take very long to do. So I'm going to manage my time here a bit. Yeah, I hope one day they start getting, making more clay animated films in the future. Bringing back some of the handcrafted animation arts. For me, it's pleasing to look at. I think computer animation is great, but I like variety. Don't you guys like variety? Yeah. I don't know why it blocked your comment, Beard. I don't know why. I guess it saw your comment as spammy. But no, I haven't seen that. Casting with silicone, cool. Yeah, there's a lot of people that are doing stuff like that, and Patreon is, like I was saying before, with YouTube, it's hard to make money at it now, and so people are going towards Patreon and just putting links in their descriptions, which is nice. All right, so this is a bit better. I think this is a bit more symmetrical. This here. It's kind of fine tuning this here. This is done, but that looks pretty good from, let me see here. Yeah, it looks good from this angle. Can't really complain. Maybe make sure that my my details aren't too flat. Make sure they're very crisp and defined. Sometimes if you're sculpting something, you become kind of afraid to really define something, and it's better to be a little bit bold with your sculpting than to be too afraid of having details in there. So I'm gonna make sure these little parts are defined nicely. Gonna give them a little bit of a jowl definition. How do you say it? Jowl or jowl? Jowls. Anyway. Oh yeah, okay, maybe that's the word. No, it's. I mean, your second comment showed up, so it's not the word Patreon. Okay. So she cast the hands for Coraline. Well, she's probably got a lot of experience then, because they probably made about how many hands for Coraline? Thousands, probably. So if you make thousands of hands, I'm willing to bet you're pretty smart when it comes to silicone. Alright, so this here, let's define this a little bit more. Where his cheek is. Like I say, it's better to be bold than too soft on details. And for the mouth, you guys can see. Make that look a little bit nicer there. So there it is. So it's going to look a little bit nicer when we put eyeballs and I put the black clay in there and give him hair and all that kind of stuff. Now, I think the height of this head might be just a tad bit too high. But I'm not really worried about it because we're going to put hair on there, right? So the hair and the hairline is going to be the more important thing. But technically it's about, this part here could be cut off. What time is it? 8:37. Okay, so I'll just quickly cut it off. Something like this. Let's see. Is the height the same now? Yeah, pretty close. Just kind of smooth out. Oh, and I see I didn't give him skin folds above his eyebrows, so I might do that too. Okay. Hey Ron, welcome back. Ah, okay. So you're sculpting something. Cool. I don't really like that kind of clay. I've used it to, well, I mean, it's good on its own, but I've tried to sculpt on stuff that's already been sculpted in fiberglass. And it's difficult to use that. I mean, it works okay, but you gotta use, I mean, I've had to use, what do you call it, like Bondo and stuff like that to get in there and make it nice. At least for the project that I worked on, which was for a face. Alright, so now this head is done. I'm calling it done. The only thing that we're going to do is I'm going to add in some little wrinkles here on his forehead. Maybe just a couple. Alright. Forehead wrinkles. Now we need to mold it. That's the next step. Okay, so I'm going to put these to the side. And I think I'll leave this paper here. I'll put my design over there. And this is easy. Whoops. I just put my finger now on his cheek. Oh. Let me fix this. Yeah. It's not horribly messed up, but looks a little bit strange now. Okay. Put those up here so I don't do that again. So Ron says, you just need practice because I love magic sculpt and have used it a lot. Yeah, you might be right there. I'm not extremely experienced with it. Yeah, don't poke your eye out with your Dremel tool, Ron. So I've got some of this. Let me see here. Do I have any more? I've got a lot. No, I need this. Alright, it's a bit dusty here. So what we need to do is we need to make a simple box. And let me zoom out so you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay, properties. And zoom out. Okay, so we've got our poster board here. And I want to take this piece and I want to cut a piece that's about maybe an inch or so tall, straight across. And to do that, I need something under it first. Look for something real quick. And I will be right back. Alright, so I got my hot glue gun and it's heating up now, which is important. And I also have a straight edge and I have a piece of scrap poster board that's really messed up and dirty and yucky. So I'm going to use this as something to cut on. And I'm going to cut this. So this is what I'm going to use. Okay, to steal a ruler out of my tool, and where's my knife? Here it is. And we have an X-Acto blade. Actually, is this even an X-Acto technically? Yeah, it is. Okay. And there's different brands of these, but X-Acto is pretty much, you know, everybody knows what it is. It's sharp. So be very careful with these. And don't cut yourself. So what I'm doing is just small, light cuts. And hopefully this will work cleanly. Let's see. Go through here. Okay. I'm going to do 2 of these. Only because I have a feeling that's not going to be long enough for what I need. I mean, it might be, but let's go with 2 anyway. Alright, it's nice and clean. So we got that, and I could probably put it on the back of this. Let's see, maybe right here. Let's cut this in half. Alright, so now we can get rid of everything else. So these are the 2 faces we'll mold. Alright. Yeah. So Ron is saying he did have an eye injury from the Dremel. I think I remember you telling me something about that. That is scary there. That is really scary. Okay, so the way I'm going to make the mold of this is to put a line about where I need this, the length to be. And from here, if my pen is working, which it really isn't, I'm going to cut about halfway through this poster board. You don't want to go all the way through because you don't want your silicone to leak. So go about halfway through. Bend it. Lay it down. And then again, you want to mark about where, kind of look from above. Mark about where it needs to be. Cut about halfway. And you can see that it's almost exactly the same size as the other side. So I am going to have to, I'll probably glue this down as it is, and then glue the second piece on the side. It's not long enough, but that's okay. Let's see if my hot glue is ready. I think it is. Yes. So this box will serve just to hold the silicone and stop it from leaking anywhere. It's a simple mold box. And what I'm doing is I'm just kind of using this hot glue almost as a caulking, like if you're caulking in a bathroom tub or something. And what that will do is once the silicone tries to get through these walls, the hot glue will hopefully seal it into the box. Because over time, silicone is like water, but it's really slow. Right? So if you can imagine pouring water inside your box or your mold, just imagine where the water would fall, go out. And once you figure that out, you can, seal it up. Sometimes you can use clay, like after you use your hot glue, if you see any silicone coming out, if there is a small microscopic hole where it can escape, you can use clay or you can use more hot glue. It's really not hard to do. And it's a little scary at first. Some people are afraid to jump in and make a mold like this because they're afraid that it's not going to be good enough. But if you start small, if you make a mistake, it's not a big mistake. So don't be afraid to at least try. I know one person, they bought one of our Bendy's armature kits, and they were writing comments on our Bendy's YouTube video about how they were, trying to figure out how to put the wires and glue them in place and all that. So I told them, I said, well, if you want to try the method that they wanted to try, I said, well, just try it on like one part and see if it works. And if you like the way it works, then do it to the rest of the armature kit. So something like a mold, you don't want to like start out making giant molds. You want to keep it simple. Keep it very simple, and then see how it works. That way you don't, lose all your silicone. You don't waste your money. But at least try, that's the thing. People are always afraid to try stuff like this. There's no need to be. It's all about adapting. You see a problem that arises in what you're doing, and you gotta just think, well, how do I fix it? What do I do? And what materials do I have? Can I solve a problem doing things with hot glue, or should I use like 2-part epoxy? Maybe epoxy is better. You can always just try. That's how anybody learns, including myself. I've screwed up more molds than I can count. Alright, so I'm going to kind of look around this whole box and see, like I said, if you imagine water being poured in here, where would it come out? And it does look like it's really sealed up good, to be honest, but I'm going to kind of overkill it and go over spots that looks, or it looks like it's a little bit thin with the hot glue. I think this will work though. An air bubble, I'll fill that with hot glue. Okay. There's our box. Super simple. We're going to put our heads in here. I think this side is bigger than the other, and this one's slightly taller, so I'm going to do that. And so let's see, where's my tool? Doesn't matter which way they face, as long as they're going to be covered by silicone. Doesn't matter. It's like a little hair in there. piece of fuzz. Darn it. Okay. So all we need to do now is mix up some silicone and pour it in here, and this will be done. But I want to make sure it's centered. I want to make sure that the mold walls are about even. So I'm kind of looking from my direction, and that's good. All right. So there they are. So on the side, I've got some rubber gloves, and I use this when I work with any kind of chemicals. And although silicone is really safe to use, I mean, you're not going to get sick if you touch it so much, and there's not much of a odor to it at all. It's really super safe to work with, and I do get it on my hands, you know, even though I try to be safe. But still, always better to be cautious. And we had a birthday party for my son at McAllister's, and we got a lot of extra cups, so I'm using McAllister's cup here. Now there is a mathematical formula which I have in the garage where I could actually calculate how much silicone I need for this mold to fill it, but I don't have that mathematical formula here, so I'm going to kind of eyeball it. I'm going to guess, it's not going to be much. Let me see here. I'm going to guess about this high. So if I fill the cup up to about here with silicone, I know that I'm going to be pretty close to what I need to be. So what I'll do is I'll fill this halfway with silicone from the bottom, which is about here, and then duplicate the amount, because the silicone requires the same weight of the two constituent parts, which is part A and part B. One is the catalyst, one is like the base. So I fill it up halfway, see what that weighs, and then duplicate that in the upper half before I mix the two. Let's see here. Okay. Paper towel, and I have a bamboo skewer. I like to use these because, like, if you want to mix up silicone with a stick, cheapest way to get dowel rods like this is to go to the grocery store and just get a whole pack of bamboo skewers. Cost about $3, and you can see here, this is from the Asian store. Asian stores have tons of these. This is one from Walmart. It's like a 10-piece skewer. It's very plain. Okay. Now the silicone I'm using is Rebound 25, and this is what I've been using for a project for somebody else, and there's just a little bit left, and that's actually what I'm using, because if I don't use this, it will eventually go bad. So what I do is, if I have to wait for the silicone to go down, because it's in the bottom of this container, if it takes a while for it to start dripping out, I will tap my scale, because if I don't tap my scale, the scale turns off. So you just got to be patient, and you wait until it starts to drip, and you tap your scale, make sure it doesn't turn off. And I hope I have enough silicone in these, because there's not much. Yep, it's good to have safety equipment for sure. Okay, so our silicone is coming out here, as you can see. Yeah, if you use plastic resins, or anything like that, or Cabacil powder fillers, or if you use smelly spray paints or anything like that, it's you really should wear protective equipment. There are a lot of toxic substances in there which are just really unhealthy for you. It's going to take a little bit of time for this to fill up. Silicone is very slow, as you can see. And judging by how much I have in this container, I might not be able to reach my my mark on here. So I think 0.5 might be enough. Let's see. Let's go at 0.6. And that's ounces. Well, I should have about 0.7 in here, but I'm almost running out. So I'm going to go with 0.6 ounces. So if you do the math, it's going to be 1.2 ounces total. Yeah, I'm just about out of this silicone. It's coming out super slow. Sorry, it's hard for you guys to see. Am I going to make it? Come on. Oh, there we go. That's about right. It's really close to 0.6. My scale, I had to tap it for it to like kick in. So what I do with this is just scoop it back inside and then cover it up. This is just about empty. I'll wipe my stick off. And then open up the white container, which is... I'm not actually sure which one is the catalyst. I think it might be the orange. But this one is white. Again, it's going to take a while for it to drip out. So I'll tap my scale every now and then. Come on, silicone. There we go. So if you guys can see, it's coming out now, finally. One of my clients wants me to use Bondo and attach some body parts to a mannequin with Bondo and then smooth it out and sand it and everything. And that stuff is really stinky. But I will definitely be using, like a respirator type filter system on my face, one of those masks that had the nice filters. I bought it years ago, so I don't remember the specifications, but you can pretty much use anything and you can't even smell it when you wear the mask. Filters out really small particles as well as chemicals which are inorganic, and I think this is, wow, I had a little bit more silicone on this one. It's coming out faster than the other canister. So we should be close to 1.2 and almost there. There we go. All right. Voila. There's our silicone. Okay. It's my son's bedtime and he's saying he's hungry. So anyways, I'm gonna mix this up. And in order to get the silicone out of a cup a bit easier, which one of the things that I do is I take a pair of scissors and I'm going to cut this cup right down the side like this, and cut around just above the height of the silicone in the cup. Like this. So what that does is when it comes time to pour this out of the cup, I don't have to wait for it to go down the entire side of a very large cup. It kind of comes out right away. So and one of the things about mixing silicone like this is if you use a clear plastic cup, you can look underneath and see if there's any catalyst that's not mixed in, because the two colors, one is darker than the other, one is white, one is the orange. And you can see if you scraped all the darker orange off the bottom. So I'm going to stir it up. And you can take your time with this particular silicone. This doesn't set up for, maybe like an hour or so, to where it's kind of firmly in place, let's say. But you have at least 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes to stir it if you wanted to take that long, which you don't need to. I mean, this is just a small tiny batch. Scrape the sides, make sure it's really good. Look underneath, and seems like it's mixed up well. Go across the whole bottom, kind of go in a zigzag pattern back and forth like a crosshatch, almost like you're drawing. Mix it up again, do another crosshatch while scraping the bottom of your cup. Go this way, then 90 degrees across the other way. Mix it up again. And this should be perfect. Hopefully. So now what we're going to do, the moment of truth, is just pour it into our mold. Now you can do it slowly or fast, doesn't really matter too much, but you want to allow for the air to escape. So what I'll do is I'll just put a thin amount on the face details, like this, get in the eyes and stuff, and let the air escape. And then I'll pour the silicone around these faces on the sides, because it will settle into those details. Okay. So I'm pretty sure I've got enough silicone here. This seems like an adequate amount. I'm just going to pour it in kind of around the face, face is. This. And just let that kind of get into the, settle into the bottom a bit before I pour in any more. That gives it time for the air to escape, and if you pour it on all at once, I don't know if there's really much of a difference, but I'd like to think that putting a thin coat like this allows the air to escape better because there's less silicone for the air to rise up through. That's kind of my theory. You can see there are little bubbles that are forming on there, or maybe you can't because it's not a very good. I can see on my computer the camera's not really picking it up, but let me get this closer to the camera. Not really sure if you guys can see, but they're really microscopic little bubbles in there. So you can kind of help them pop as well if you're not, worried about destroying your sculpture. You don't want to really do it on the sculpture, but on the sides you can. I think that should be okay. So we'll just pour in the rest here. I think this will be just fine. Kinda cool. There's always something neat when you make a mold and you know you're going to cast a bunch of stuff, and it's always kind of fun. It's like there's a potential for some cool stuff to come out of here that we can bring to life. So where's my other tool? Ah, there it is. So I've got this cake spatula that I use for a lot of things, and I'm going to use this to scrape out the bottom of the cup and put it in here. So I think we're just making it. I think I have just barely enough over the surface of these two heads to make it. I think if I had just a little bit less silicone, I'd have to mix up more. I got kind of lucky. Got lucky. I really estimated it well, but I think just maybe 0.2 more ounces would have been better to have extra. Let's scrape it in there. Okay. Hopefully you guys haven't fallen asleep watching this. But this is the process. I mean, this is how you do it. Now the silicone, I can tell, has thickened up just a little bit. Just to kind of give you guys an idea of work time, you know. You can still work with it, but it's not 100% workable. had I waited too long before I poured this on my sculpture, air bubbles might get trapped. And like, you want to pretty much get it on your sculpture as soon as you mix it up, because that means that the silicone is at its most liquid state, and air will go through it a lot quicker, rise up faster that way. But this is good. This is pretty much perfect here. I'm happy with this. And any remaining air bubbles will slowly rise up out of here as well. Like, I can see a few of them already. There's one like in the corners. See one here in the center. Kind of pop it like that. And so the only thing I need to do now really is just to look around the edges and see if any silicone is starting to creep out of these cracks, and to patch it. And that's really it. So let's kind of look around, and it actually looks good. All right, so I'm gonna take my gloves off. Gonna get stuff thrown in the garbage where it needs to go. And that does conclude our show. So anyways, I do appreciate you guys stopping by. Yep, that's cool, Ron. Yeah, thanks for stopping in. And good luck with the thing you're working on. Maybe one of these days we can have you on as a guest again. You can kind of clue us in on what you're up to. But anyways, I guess I will see you guys all next week. See you later.